What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Have More Than Money. It's been longer than we like, but today we're going to be discussing why, if you're looking to start a business, it needs to be online.
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, do you want to be spending all your time in the same building, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week? The thing is, business owners are the hardest working people, right? But when it comes to online, it's like we have the freedom to be recording videos outside in our backyards, be wherever we want at any time. We can wake up in our bed and spend the day in our house or wherever we want. But if you open a business, a brick and mortar store, then you're not going to be necessarily an entrepreneur, but just a self-employed worker. You're going to be spending more time in that in that store than anyone would spend anywhere. Those are the hardest working people on the planet, are people that open up their own retail stores.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that distinction between entrepreneur and self-employed really needs to be highlighted, because when you become self-employed, you're just creating another job for yourself. And the whole point of starting a business is to free up your time. That should be the number one priority. But if you're self-employed and you have to be in your building and managing the business, then you're not an entrepreneur. Like I said, you're just creating another job where, at least for one job, if you work in an office for someone else, the responsibility doesn't fall on you. But if you open a retail business, you're starting a job that doesn't really come with the benefits of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, I really agree. I mean, me and Mike, we don't enjoy working. I mean, we work because we have to, we work because we need to. But, the real reason why we do what we do is to be able to enjoy life while we make money. I mean, a lot of people tend to look at my results and think, oh, I'm the hardest worker they know. But it's really the opposite. I mean, a lot of the people making much less money than we do are working way harder, whether it's at their jobs or at their own business. The beautiful part about online business is that you're creating something that can make money from you from anytime, anywhere. You can do whatever you want, and you can still be getting paid.
Exactly, and I think that's the number one thing when it comes to starting a business online or brick and mortar is location independence. And e-commerce brings you that location independence where, as long as I have my laptop, my phone, and Wi-Fi, I can literally make money from any part of the world. I think that's honestly just kind of mind-blowing when you really put that into perspective. The fact that, I could be in the Philippines or I can be anywhere in Europe and run my business that's technically out of the States. I mean, that's just a pretty awesome thought. And I think that's something that you really can't do unless you're in the business of online business.
I like how you said the Philippines. Like, I'm obviously assuming that's not your first choice of vacation, but I guess, our employees are in your head a little bit.
And I have an aunt who's also from the Philippines. So
oh, nice. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, what we do, what we started online business to take control of our time. And, if you are a business owner that isn't online, you're not really taking control of your time. In a lot of ways, you're going to be more restricted than ever. You're going to be, there's a book that I read. It was called the E-Myth. And he was talking about, there was this lady who owned a bakery, and she started it because she was passionate about baking. She always baked pies with her grandma. So then she was like, all right, let me open up a pie shop. And what happened was, when she opened up the pie shop, it became the biggest torturous thing of her life. She had to be at this restaurant, the bakery, by 4 a.m. to start baking pies, just so the pies would be ready for opening by 8 a.m. And then she would be there from 8 to 5, and then she'd be cleaning up from 5 to 7, get home by 8, just to be back there by 4 a.m. to start baking again for the day. Is that really a life that you want to be living? I mean, listen, some people maybe, and in that particular case, the owner of that bakery, she very quickly realized she had to make changes, and I believe she ended up hiring people to run the bakery for her, and then the business actually started doing better. So it's like, do you really want to be someone that's so attached to your business? You got to be there, 4 a.m., all that.
Yeah, and I think that just kind of ties into the next point that I wanted to talk about, which was automation. I mean, I guess speaking from experience for us, Jared, it's just 1,000 times easier to automate an online business than it is to automate a retail store. Just the fact that we can hire employees from overseas to look over customer service. And I mean, really, that's really the only thing that you need to do for online business is have someone there for customer service. But the main thing is, like I said before, the number one reason that you should start a business is to free up your time.
Yeah.
And so we found that it is insanely easy to automate online businesses, and our online business in particular, and even other people we know who do different business models. It's just so easy to automate it that, listen, you just can't do that if you're in a store. I mean, you can, but it's a lot easier to do it online.
Yeah, and you know, I don't mean to be cynical, but a lot of the times once you finally do automate your store, next thing you know, you see money being missing from the cash register. You know, with an online business, me and Mike, there's really no possibility of our employees stealing money from us without us finding out. It's really, it's physically impossible. There's no way we wouldn't be able to see it. You know, when you own a store and you're not there, it's especially when people are paying in cash, there's really no way for you to prove, unless you obviously go to security cameras, if people are stealing. So, I mean, obviously, you know, we don't like to assume that that's going to ever happen if you do open up a retail store, but unfortunately, you know, you can't always expect bad things to happen in life. They just happen sometimes. So,
and the risk factor is also something that's just, I guess, kind of goes without saying to us, but I mean, the fact that you have to, you know, pay to rent a building to begin with, then pay employees, pay for any overhead you have. Whereas, like, for us, it costs $20 to buy a domain. It costs us $30, $40 to host it on a platform. And then, you know, obviously, as everyone knows, we don't hold any inventory when you drop ship. And so, I mean, I guess in a sense, it's also just, it feels good to know that you have a lot less risk as opposed to opening up a retail shop.
Yeah.
And I kind of also want to just tie that to the next point, which is scalability. When you own a retail store, you're literally, you can only sell to people in your area. So figure, you know, a 10 to 20 mile radius, that's how much money you can make. Which, Jared, I don't know if you can just kind of piggyback off the opportunities you have when you sell online.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Mike really, he said it perfectly. You know, the risk factor, it's like, you know, you're paying rent, which is usually, depending on where you are, at least $1,000 a month. You usually have to hire employees right out the gate, which is typically a few $1,000s a month. And then you have to buy inventory, which could be $100,000 off the bat. You know, you open up a retail store and you're going straight into the negative. You open up an online store, you know, we literally don't pay any more than $40 a month until we start running ads. And once we start running ads, we typically start making money. As far as the scalability factor, I mean, listen, do you want to make sales to your zip code or to the entire America? I mean, you know, you can use your logic with that. You know, like if I opened up a lawnmower store and you opened up a lawnmower store and your store only sells to your neighborhood and my store sells to the entire United States, it's not even a question as to who's going to do better. It's a question as who has more potential. And I mean, obviously, it's not even a question because, you know, nobody's location is bigger than the country. You know, just like no individual is bigger than the world, no zip code is bigger than the country. So at the end of the day, you want to have as many possibilities as possible. You know, me and Mike, most of our sales, I would say, are on the West Coast, and we live on the East Coast, which is just so fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, just choose your example. It's like, if we're competing against someone who has a retail store in that zip code, like, we can sell to that zip code, and then millions of others, you know, across
thing is, we're not even competing with the people that have the retail store, because they're only competing with us over a tiny market. You know, we're not even worried about that. I honestly don't even like making sales to my local area.
We have to pay taxes in our state, so
exactly.
I want as far away from us as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, Jared, just kind of recap, we're talking about ceiling here. Like, when you think about the ceiling of a physical retail store versus the ceiling of online business, I mean, I think you guys get the point. It's really just no comparison. So, which is why, you know, we've scaled businesses up to, you know, $6 million in revenue, because you really just can't do that if you're just working in your community.
It's not going to be easy.
The last point I personally want to hit on is the duplication factor of businesses. So, you know, we spoke about time being so important for business owners, and that same, you know, it's going to be a common theme throughout every time we talk about business, because your time is realistically the most important factor when it comes to duplicating the success that you created. And so, you know, when we build a Shopify high ticket dropshipping store and we automate it, Now, if it just requires, a couple hours a week, we can now focus our attention on duplicating that process. It kind of goes hand in hand with the startup cost that we talked about. If you have a physical retail store and you want to duplicate it and open up another branch, you don't have to redo the entire process of finding somewhere to rent, paying rent, paying employees, paying overhead. But when it comes to duplicating an online store, it's the same exact thing, except do it again and now you have the experience.
Yeah, I mean, your retail store can only be so big. But for us, it's like adding new products is literally just clicking a few buttons. It's crazy. Think about it. Like, if you want a retail store, how are you going to create more space to add new products? There's a reason why if you go to your local Walmart, they have thousands of products. But if you go on walmart.com, there's millions of products. I mean, it's crazy, right? But that's the reality. There's no cap. There's no limit to the web, to the internet. Especially we use Shopify, which is so easy to just pretty much make a store. Honestly, probably to millions of products. I mean, none of our stores have more than thousands, but I don't see any reason why Shopify would cap us out at millions. There's no cap. I mean, there's really no cap. And just to I guess wrap up this video. In the end of the day, making money online, whether it's what we do, or not, is just the best way to make money. That's the fact of the story, is that there's no better way to make money than something that's going to be passive, something that's going to allow you to do what you want when you want. Obviously, real estate falls under the same category along with owning long-term stocks. But yeah, guys, you just don't want to be associating your time and money if you want to be successful.
Yeah, it was perfectly said. I think there's one point that we're going to hit home on every single video that talks about business in general. It is that time is your most valuable asset. And online business creates a vehicle for you to find success and passive income without having to divulge hours and hours of your day at a time. So you can now focus on things that will actually make you happy, which, for everyone, different things make them happy. And for us, it's doing things that we love, whether it's jujitsu, whether it's hanging out with each other, or, playing golf, whatever it is, we can afford those luxuries when our time is attached to our money.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, online business is probably the best vehicle for that.
Yeah, and just, one more thing before we end the video, don't worry about necessarily owning a business where it's your passion. Don't worry about getting a job where it's your passion. People have the whole passion aspect completely wrong. Where you make money and your passion don't have to align. Because think about it like this, what we create are passive income sources that allow us to make money while our time is free. So once you get rid of the mindset that time and money have to be connected, then you could live on a much deeper level of life, which is, all right, I make money, which allows me to do my passion. Maybe your passion is something that you'll never make money doing. You can't do that and ignore the fact that you need money. People tend to give that advice. Oh, forget about the money, do what you're passionate about. No, because you need money to live. So what you need to do is you need to create passive income, so then you can live your passions and have money. I remember I got into an argument once in my public speaking class in college, because I gave that talk. I gave the talk about how you need to make money first so you can live your passion. And he tried to say, oh no, I'm going to become a professional artist even though I don't make money. And my response to him was, have fun painting from a box. And I don't mean to, be arrogant or anything along those lines. I'm just being honest with the fact that make money first, live your passion after. What me and Mike teach, you can become financially free after just a few years and then live the rest of your life doing whatever it is you're passionate about.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly said. In case you guys haven't realized, Jared doesn't give a shit about what anyone thinks. But I love it. I personally love it. He comes across as harsh, but what he says, it's exactly what he's thinking, which is good and bad at times. But listen, he told that kid straight up how it is, and he's going to continue to do it. So I love it. If you guys like this video, please swing a like, subscribe. If you want to see us talk about something else down the road, drop a comment. I'm sure we'll get to it, and we will see you in the next video.